Hey guys, welcome back to Beauty Marks Podcast. My name is Elizabeth Savion, and thank you for joining me on another conversation of this month's relationship chats. And so this one's going to be a little controversial. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this podcast and leave a review if you want more controversial information. I'm kidding. No, honestly, I actually was talking to someone before this that I usually don't make episodes like this, but I feel like why not share my opinions and thoughts on things happening in the world? And so I am also here at High Hill Labs in downtown Orlando in this beautiful studio space. So make sure to check them out and they can help you with any podcast needs. On today's episode, I will be talking about something that maybe you've seen on social media. And so I feel like we're always waiting to be kind of told what is cool, what is relevant through social media. And then it starts trending and then everybody's on it or everyone's talking about it. And so what I will be talking about today is about stay-at-home girlfriends. Yes, you heard that right. Stay-at-home girlfriends. And this, I just want to say a disclaimer, this is not to throw shade or shame to anyone if you are in that position, but I just wanted to kind of talk about like my opinion on it, how I feel about it, and what I've been seeing a lot of young girls like in their 20s, early 20s, maybe 18, kind of idolizing this idea of something like this. I feel like on social media, there's the extremes. There's like the women that you see, and of course what gets clout is always the drama or the stuff that everybody doesn't agree with or does agree with. And what I see a lot is either the women that are like, we need to be independent, we don't need men are trash, or you see the other women that are like, you know what, I want to be taken care of. I want to live a soft life, and so I want to be with someone that makes X amount of money because I want to be taken care of. And then you have like, so it's like girl boss / the other thing. And so now there's this new thing circling the internet, which is stay-at-home girlfriend. And if you haven't heard, well, now you know. And so what it is, I looked it up on Google to see like what relevant, like do they know what's happening in the times? And so it says, being a stay-at-home girlfriend is all about supporting your boyfriend with tasks like cooking and housework, plus a rigorous self-care regimen to keep up appearances. The phenomenon reflects a Gen Z move away from the mid-2000s girl boss hustle culture and towards aspirations of a softer life. And so coming from someone that was a 1995 baby, I definitely feel like I can relate to the push of like us grinding and us figuring our stuff out, us having a career. Like that's the generation that I came from. Like literally, I've been told my whole life, like I have to have it all together. I cannot depend on someone else. I have to have a degree. I have to do all of those things. And I genuinely feel like that's like in my DNA to work hard, to figure all my career out. But I'm also grateful for that because I have been able to maximize my potential and to work on the dreams that I have in my heart and to create something like a podcast and work in marketing and like have all these experiences through the work that I love, you know? And so I found my passion through like middle school, high school, then in college. And so all the things that I'm doing is like creating the life that I want. And of course, do I have days that I'm like, oh my God, I wish someone, you know, like I had some support with this, of course, but I feel like I'm still working towards the goals in life. And so when I saw this stay-at-home girlfriend, I genuinely asked myself, like, what is the benefit to that? Like, these girls are young, it seems, right? Like in their, after high school, early before 25, and they're supporting their partner. But the thing is, it's a boyfriend, and they're staying at home not because they have kids, or it's just because they want to live a more soft life of like being taken care of and all of that. And I feel like the question that I have is like, are they working towards their goals and are they stopping their potential? Like, are they not thinking about like, what do I want for myself, you know? And they're just kind of either focusing on someone else and their dreams, or are they just doing it because they see that on social media and that's what's cool right now? So then they're like, that's what I want, is like for that. And then I think about the women that say, hey, and I had a conversation with someone in their early 20s, and she was kind of sharing with me of her circle, what they talk about when it comes to relationships. And they were talking about how like, I feel like this new generation hears a lot about the toxic relationships, marriages not working out, divorce, getting cheated on, all of that. So their idea of like, well, if men are going to cheat and if I'm not going to be treated well, I'd rather be taken care of financially. And I'd rather be, in Paris than, living here and just, suffering if regardless, I'm already going to not be like the standard of a relationship is so low. And I feel like that is a lot of view of men in especially social media. It's like saying about how toxic it is or toxic masculinity and all these things that I'm like, I personally don't agree with. Like, I think genuinely we are not giving men the benefit of the doubt and we're not giving them like their potential. We're not talking about that. We have men like here, and I genuinely don't agree with that way of thinking. I also think that for women, I feel like we're stopping, like the women that fought for our freedoms, the women that fought for our right to vote and fought for our voice are probably turning in their graves. Like, what are we doing? It feels like we're going backwards. And that's kind of like society, genuinely. I think that it's always the extremes. Like, it's never a middle ground. It's always one extreme to the other. And wherever the wave goes, it's like, all right, we're doing that now. Let's go over here. And I genuinely feel like I want to challenge you if you are in that position or if you hear about this, like to stop and think like, okay, is that really what I want to do? Is that really what I truly believe? Or is it just because it looks good online? Because people only show you the highlight reels. So I feel like when I was looking at like the TikTok, so if you search stay-at-home girlfriend, you will find it. You will find all the reels of them like in Pilates class. They're like getting their coffee in the morning. They're just cleaning and like all of that. And I genuinely think that it's like, it looks so nice, right? It looks so nice behind closed door, behind the screen. But I have to question if that's really the life that they have chosen and how that's going to look like a few years down the road. Because I would say the first years of like my early 20s, like that was me figuring out, like first my frontal lobe wasn't completely developed. And I really believe after 25, I'm telling you, something switches, something changes. And I'm sure if you are 25 plus, you know. And I feel like it just concerns me, to be honest, of like, is that really the path that you have decided? And are you stopping yourself from going after your goals and dreams, and of course we're in a society that everybody wants to respect of like, be happy, do what makes you feel good. And of course, if that is your lifestyle, do you. But I just want to challenge you, especially the girls that are in their early 20s that I hear and I see on social media of the way that they like just really have lost hope of like their own potential and the relationships that they're going to be in. Like, I really don't believe that. I genuinely think, in my opinion, that there are good relationships out there that you can support and you can help each other and that aren't toxic. And I think that you deserve both. You deserve someone that genuinely can support you emotionally, but then, if that's something, it's like you guys work together. And we are in a generation that you can also do things for yourself, And so I think that you being independent, you having your own thoughts and your own values and your own things, regardless of your relationship status, is important. And so I sometimes worry about the young girls that are like 19, 20 that are just being like taken care of from someone that you're not even like in, right? Because if we talk about marriage, right, it's, in my belief, it's a covenant, right? It's but in legally, it's also a contract and it's also an agreement. And so you being a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home wife is definitely at a different level than you being on a stay-at-home girlfriend. Because if you guys do not work out, what is your plan? Like, what are you doing? And I saw a video about this, and I agree about it, was I feel like people that are doing this, that are taking the content on social media about the stay-at-home girlfriend have definitely more privilege. Because if you knew that you could go back to live at home and you're living with your boyfriend and you're like, hey, if it doesn't work out, my parents, you might do that. If your parents are helping you financially, you might do that. But if you knew that if this didn't work out and I had no job, no career, no nothing, and I had nothing to get on my feet after, that is a much bigger risk. And I feel like that is what is not shown on social media. That like maybe the people that are posting this and that are making like, oh, so cool, like look at me, I'm spending my allowance and just living my life and whatever, like they're not showing the other side that like maybe they're not nervous because they know that they'll be taken care of regardless. And so those are just some thoughts of like a little concern of these young girls and their talks about stay-at-home girlfriends. So I would encourage someone, you don't have to be a hustle culture girl boss. You really don't. You really, really don't. And I feel like I love how even me as a millennial, I am going away from that mindset of like, I genuinely want to regulate my nervous system, feel calm, do the things that I enjoy, not feel like always that anxiety of like, I need to achieve and everything. But I also have dreams in my heart, and God put those in my heart for a reason, just like He has for you. There's things that you still want to do and things that you want to complete and fulfill. And I think that you should do that and not let, someone maybe hold you back or something hold you back. I know that the other side of it is like, what if they have decided to do that? That's great. But I really believe that at 25, when your frontal lobe develops, you will be like, what was I doing? What was I doing? What are the benefits? I don't find, because honestly, I looked up like the benefits of, what are the benefits of having a stay-at-home girlfriend? I feel like that just helps the guy. It really doesn't talk about the girl. It just says that you can run errands, prepare meals, go shopping, and complete other chores while your partner is at work. It's giving 1950s wife, which again, wife, very different from girlfriend, very, 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 very different. So I feel like that is just something that I want to challenge you to think about of like, if that's something that you're doing, I really want to know, like, what are the benefits? Like, I genuinely want to know, what are the benefits? How do you see that working out for you? And is that something that you're just doing because society thinks it's cool? Or maybe you have a very supportive boyfriend that you're like, you know what? He can help me. Or maybe you're working on your dreams while he's doing that. Then I wouldn't say that that's a stay-at-home girlfriend. I think this is genuinely saying that, like, I just go to Pilates, look cute, and I don't do anything but make sure that he's taken care of. And that is concerning to me. That's giving codependent, unhealthy dynamic for you. But then the other part of like the view of men on social media, I genuinely believe that us women, we need to kind of have hope out there, instead of like talking about guys of like how horrible they are. And maybe you have had bad experiences. And I genuinely believe that if all your experiences have been bad, I know that that's your truth. Like that's genuinely your truth. But until you have new, better experiences that you give your chance to have that, then that won't change. And I also think that like how social media and society praises toxic, unhealthy dynamics, and even like with reality TV, all of that, there's not a lot of hope for young people of like, wow, if we look at Jada and Will Smith as the idea of marriage, clearly that's not giving you hope. But I think that what has helped me to have that hope is surrounding myself with like decent marriages that actually look good, or a relationship. It doesn't even have to be marriage. It can be a relationship that you're like, wow, they support each other, they help each other, they actually like each other, and they treat each other with respect. And that is healthy. And that's the kind of relationship that I want. It's not just financial. It's not just what they can give me or what I can give to them. It's genuinely like love, and I feel like my view of guys has even changed. And I've talked about this before of like, versus how when I first got out of my relationship, how I talked about it versus now looks very different, because I've actually like I have perspective on the relationship to know that this is my experience, but that doesn't mean that that's all the people out there. And so I feel like until you start having good positive experiences, then you'll be able to say and talk differently, and if you want to attract those people, definitely talking about it differently will help you do that. And also surrounding yourself around those kind of guys that are healthy and that are more self-aware and all of that. So I also think that the view of like maybe not having father figures and not even having just like a good example of that in our lives as women and as men, I feel like then we just don't know what the standard or what to expect in relationships that we either tolerate or we settle, or we just don't see ourselves to have a potentially good relationship because we didn't see that growing up. So I definitely think that what's happening in society today and like on social media is definitely a generational thing of what they have experienced, you know? But I really hope what comes back is independent women that need a partner, because I believe we need men just as much as they need us. I 100% believe that. But also that you are individual and you have your own goals and your own dreams and you can support each other. It's not just a one way, it's both of you. And that you can make sure that your opinions or what you do in your life is not based on waiting to society to tell you things. You probably have seen it on social media, which is so cringe, of like the Stanley Cup controversial stuff, or like now I think it's like the mob wife versus, so it used to be like the clean girl aesthetic. Now it's switching to mob wife or the mob something era. So it's like, I feel like then everybody starts getting on it. Like, okay, this is what I have to do. It's like you're waiting to change yourself or to like or to be obsessed with things or to buy things based on social media, which social media isn't even real. Like literally we're living in this like non-reality thing. So I just want to challenge you to still have your own opinions, to still have your own values, to still have your own thoughts of what you want as a woman, and go towards that. Don't just go with what the trends or what you think, because that might not be what you want, and that's okay. And it might be controversial. Like that's why I'm even talking about this. I was like, this might be very controversial because it seems like a lot of people agree with it. Like, hello, no, I don't agree with it. I think you shouldn't. You should have your own thing. And again, it doesn't mean hustle culture, because I don't agree with hustle culture anymore. I think that you can evolve and change, and that's okay. So those are just some of my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts and love to hear what you think about with stay-at-home girlfriends and all the things that are happening on social media. So make sure to subscribe to this podcast, leave a review, and follow me at Elizabeth Savvy for more.